I get very like flustered. So like being able to just, and your website is just so beautiful. It's evolved so much too from the beginning days. And I could just easily pick and choose what I need and blah, blah, blah. And I drive 20 minutes from Pasadena and I come here and it's ready and it's boxed up and you boop in my car and I just drive off.
We're back with another episode of On Air with LA Balloons. I'm Andrew and
I'm Karen.
And today we've got Rilee from Balloonworks.
Hey.
So Rilee will be our guest today. And we are so lucky to have her. And thank you for making the time to be out here and just be with us and be on the show. So I know a lot of people are excited to hear about your story.
Really?
Your event space, how you got there and all the things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we get started, quick shout out to Tough Tex Balloons for sponsoring today's episode of On Air with LA Balloons. And if you don't know LA Balloons, laballoons.com. If you want professional service, better products, faster shipping, that's where you get all your stuff. Balloons, silk flowers, and more. Cool.
Oh,
shameless plug.
a lot right there.
That was great. Sold.
Rilee is not only the owner of Balloonworks, but you also have your event space, which is called The Works.
Yes.
And then you have over 64.7 thousand followers.
The last time I saw it, it was at like 47. So that's
So can you talk to us a little bit about how you got into the balloon business? What kind of what were we doing before that? So a little bit on that.
Yeah, of course. So I started I graduated from Cal State LA. I definitely didn't go there for balloons. I got my degree in communications and a minor in marketing. I worked a crazy corporate job before I started Balloonworks, where I was smiling and dialing, making 100 phone calls a day. And I think that really set me up to be the entrepreneur I am today. Absolutely hated the job, though. It was behind a desk, crazy work culture. And I had a close girlfriend of mine that was having a baby and asked me to throw a gender reveal party for her. And this was back in 2018, before balloons were what they are today, right? So there wasn't garlands. It was just very traditional arches. And she had sent me a picture of balloons. And I was like, I can make that. She's like, no, just hire somebody. And I was like, no, I can do it. So I went to like some random little spot in downtown LA, bought like the cheapest balloons ever and made some made this little arch and got some good feedback from it. And then when I started, there wasn't like companies you could really reference off of, but I was like, there has to be a business for this. Like, that's just kind of how my brain works. And I was just like, got some good feedback and I did it for a couple more friends after that. And then literally 2 weeks later, I quit my job and never looked back.
That's wild.
That is.
You just hit the ground running. Like,
I really did. Yeah.
I'm out.
I didn't have like a savings. I don't come from a family that like can help me financially either. I was already living in LA at the time too with my brother in Glendale. And it was basically just like, this is what it is. Like, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to like fall flat on my face. And I just truly believe that if you have the confidence in yourself and you constantly like manifest and tell the world and the earth and all of that you're going to do it and business is going to come to you and you're going to keep going. It's always going to come. You're just setting yourself up for greatness. And like, that's truly even my motto today. As soon as things start to slow down, I'm like, oh, I need to reach out to people. I just literally am like, no, business is going to be there. God's going to provide. And literally he does every single time. So I'm very fortunate for that.
that's amazing.
Yeah. How do you take that risk? Like, you pretty much just said it, like, I'm going to work hard. I quit. Here's my 2 weeks. You gave your 2 weeks at your company.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just said, this is it.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, it's definitely not easy to have that mindset. I think that that's truly what separates a good entrepreneur from a great entrepreneur. I think a lot of people want to start their own business because they see like, oh, this person's making this type of money. And, you know, they think it's going to be easy and it's not because you have nobody telling you what to do. You have to tell yourself what to do. And so when it comes to just like creating leads in business and starting from literally the ground zero of, I didn't even know who was a supplier. Like I didn't know LA Balloons was around. I didn't know these other companies that were wholesale suppliers either. I just was going to figure it out. And that's truly like one of my all go like mottos in life is everything is figure outable. Like truly, if you're not figuring it out now, you're going to figure it out while you're doing it. And then you're just going to go from
Jump
there.
in.
And
Just do it.
you're going to know from the next time and the next time that it's just all going to work itself out.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was years ago because that was still when LA Balloons used to have a storefront, so people would walk in and shop. And I remember that was like 7 years ago. What year did you start?
So I officially got like the LLC in 2019. So it's 6 going on 7 years now. Yeah.
Because at that point, I was still on the floor, and then Andrew was in his office, and I remember you were in his office a lot of the times that you guys would talk like balloon stuff, and I'd be like, who is this girl in his office all the time? But that's how we kind of met you, and you've been here.
Totally. And I attribute a lot of my like early day success to LA Balloons for sure. You guys introduced me to so many different products and little tips and tricks and just like navigation of the industry before you could YouTube things, before there was a tutorial or a TikTok or anything. Like it was literally like us on the floor, like this color, you stick that inside this color and you make this color and like this much helium into this. And
a lot of people come in thinking it's easy.
Yeah.
And they think like, oh, it's just balloons. I can put it on a string. I can hang up the garland. But once you really get into it and you've got the frames, you got to go up and down the ladder. You got to hang it up. You've got the event space. You have time restrictions. You have bigger installs. That's when a lot of people fall off. Or in between where they're like not getting the jobs because they're waiting for the job and they're not going out and finding it. But you can learn stuff everywhere. And you did. And you picked up all these things, but you actually like went out and enacted them. Like you actually took action and like found clients, you made networks, you learned the different techniques and you applied it to yourself and you tried things. But you're a grinder. And like, I don't know, like I remember like when you told me like you were in sales before and like corporate sales and different things, I was just like, I don't know,
And it's funny because I feel like all my past career and jobs like led me to where I am today. Like making those 100 phone calls, like when I started doing that for my own business and calling, Universal Studios and ABC7 and all these different event planners at the time, I didn't even know what to really pitch them. I was just like, hey, I'm a balloon company. If you ever need balloons, my name is Rilee. I followed up with an email with the same script. And then I posted the 3 ever balloon jobs I did. I sent them a picture of that. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. So with that, I started hitting up, I was like, who else needs balloons? Schools, dentists, doctors. Like it just was like a rapid thing in my mind where I was like, at the end of the day, like I was looking back at pictures of my dad in high school and there's balloons. You know what I mean? Like there's balloons everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's where I tried to like tell new people that are getting in this industry, like you literally just have to put yourself out there. Like you can go online and see like new businesses that are opening. They're going to have a grand opening. You're going to go to a bar. They're going to have, a 4th of July party. They're going to have St. Patty's Day. Like they want balloons for all of that. Like kindergarten graduations, preschool starting, like high school graduations. Like where else could you be and not offer your services?
Were you calling or emailing them?
Both. So I would call and then I would always like, if I wasn't getting the direct contact I needed, I would just go online, find their email, and then I would go on LinkedIn and stalk who the principal was or who the head director was of that company and kind of just go through there. But it's like a lot of people, I will say, won't put in that work. And that's why I tell people like, I could tell you everything I know about this business, but I know you're not going to do it because it's a lot of work. Like I put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of hours of just sitting behind a computer screen. And that's a lot of like nitty gritty work that people just don't want to do. They just want the client to fall in their lap and do the job and get that $800 when that's not reality. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the beginning, I'm fortunate enough now I have the consistent clients that have come back year after year. But in the beginning, like you don't know where you're going to get those clienteles from. And then I always knew too, I was like, I didn't want my business to just be birthday parties and, small mom and pop like gigs. I wanted it to be on that corporate level of like the Amazons, the Maybelline Cosmetics, like the bigger LeBron James and all those type of parties. And so you just kind of have to think bigger too when you start in that as well.
I don't know very many people when I ask them, like, how do you find clients?
Yeah.
Who are cold calling.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton either.
Like, but obviously it worked for you.
Yeah.
How much of that do you attribute to the success and where you are right now?
I would say about 80%, because there was a time within the first 2 years of my business, I was sending out 100 emails a week and phone calls a week.
Whoa.
And I had sent out a list of 100 and then DM 50 people. That was the goal every single week.
That's funny. And how are you finding? So I know you mentioned it, like dentist schools. Like, where did you find? You just Googled their name?
I am in the FBI.
Okay.
So
you just Googled and click the links on Facebook and Instagram.
So especially in LA, like we are the party capital of the world. Like I truly believe that there is not just one event every day of the week. There is hundreds of events every day of the week here. So we're very fortunate for that. But I just started in school districts from Riverside County, and I went all the way across, and I started from preschool, and then I just went all the way up to college, and I did the top major high schools and colleges in that. And then I started working for private schools. So I was like, who else has money? Private schools. So I did all the private elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, colleges. And then I went from Riverside, Orange County, LA County, all the way up to Calabasas. And I just was like, copy and paste that same message. I mean, it takes you hours, and I probably could have found another, like, what's that app where you can mass email people? Monkey
MailChimp or something.
MailChimp, yeah. But at the time, this was 6 years ago, that was difficult for me to do. So I just did the hard work, and I was just like,
manual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, personality wise, I really feel like it doesn't even matter that it's the balloon business. It's kind of like whatever business you want to get into or would like to evolve into. I think you just have the mindset and the personality of someone who is successful. So like that is not limited to any industry or specific job, but you obviously have all the characteristics, and it's not as, I guess, easy as it might look like when you're just looking at your portfolio and what it is that you're showing to the world. But like, very cool. I mean, like it is funny. Like you are one of the first people, because it was 2017 when I started and got into the balloon industry. So before I had met you, there was even only so much information that I could give you.
Yeah.
Like introducing you to the brands, what's a professional brand, what's a good balloon, the different sizes, like entry level basic, techniques into, how to do garlands. But like you've evolved so much since then. But
when you were calling these people or like emailing them, I know you were telling them like, I'm a balloon artist, like I'm here for your setups. Were you at that point charging them something for the decor that you were doing, or were you just kind of doing something as like, I'm just going to go set up just to kind of get my like business out there? Or how has that, like, if you had a minimum then, how has that changed to where you're at now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I first started, the only people I've ever done free work for is my family and like friends. I've never done free work for anybody else unless it was a styled shoot. So styled shoots help out a lot. But when it's briefly after I decided to go on my own, I was emailing all these event planners. One of them answered. He's like, I actually have an event for you this weekend. He's like, I can't tell you who it's for though, but like you just need to come and do it. And ended up being for Paris Hilton.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was like,
that's actually one of the first 3 or 4 pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah. And she had posted Balloon Works, and Kim Kardashian had posted Balloon Works, and then Balloon Works just kind of took off from there. So that same event planner started using us numerous times. Again, I did give him a discounted rate, but like it was more of like, at least I was always covering supplies. Like I may not have been covering like my physical labor. But I do remember when I first started, my minimum was like 300, 250. Now it's obviously not that, for a lot of reasons. One, when you're at the point to where I'm at now, we're in and we're out, right? Like I'm not blowing up on site. I have a van now. I have, some employees with me, and with that comes, that's money and time as well. And we've come to the point where it's like, you're hiring us because you know that one, we're going to come prepared and get the job done. And we're going to be there for 35 minutes to an hour, depending on how big the job is. Like, we're not there all day just because we don't have to blow up on site. Like, we know what we're doing. We know how to hang things, how to not hang things, what type of, items to use in certain balloons in this type of weather and all that stuff. So you're paying for the knowledge now. My minimum rate now is $1,500, and that's just for like a very standard balloon garland, I will say. But it's also like, what you're getting with us. Like, a lot of times, a lot of these new people will start and they're going to charge $200, but like, you're going to get $200 work. And I'm not saying that that's not what happened to me in the beginning, but also like, I know where we're at now, and you kind of have to level yourself up each time. And time is money too. I can't keep taking like $200 jobs and expecting I'm going to get a bigger job, because what ends up happening a lot of the times is you'll take the $200 job, and then for some reason you get that $1,500 job and you can't do it because the $200 job and the $1,500 job are at the same time, but in two different places on the map, So it's just like, then what do you do?
Yeah.
And then you have to be a person of integrity and take the $200 job because you already said you're going to do it.
You covered a lot of the questions I have on my list.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry.
I was just like, no, which is great.
I'm a rapid pace all the time.
It's like, what we're going to ask you. I didn't even send you the interview list. So, okay, that's wild. Yes, I feel like you're giving us so much to work with. So you've got a lot, you've got a van now. You also have an event space.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about your event space?
Totally.
It's called The Works?
It's called The Works. It's in Pasadena, in the heart of Pasadena. And that wasn't like a very easy route either. So like I said, I don't come from a family of money. There's nobody I can really tap into and be like, can I borrow 10 grand, 5 grand? Like, that's just not me. I'm also like a single female with no kids. And I say that on two different spectrums of like, I don't have a husband to rely on either financially, or that we can come together in something and grow a business. I literally only have myself. Shout out to all the mothers out there though, with kids doing this business. Don't know how you guys do it. You're absolutely insane. Give you all the grace and all the glory, because like, these kids are wild and you guys still make it happen. And I literally am mind blown by you every single day, because I'm by myself and I don't eat lunch. I couldn't imagine feeding kids and like doing all that while owning this business. Yeah. It's crazy, like the time and effort it takes. But so long story short was I was basically sleeping with balloons. Like that's how crazy Balloon Works had gotten, like blowing up and having balloons in my living room, in my bedroom, in my, just everywhere. And I was just like, this isn't healthy for my mental. Because one, I wasn't having a work-life balance. I felt like when I was coming home, I was still having balloons everywhere. And I just knew I had outgrown the business from my house. So I was like, and I lived in an apartment. So it's not like I had a garage to like store into or anything like that. So I had the van, but I was like, this is just too much. Like I cannot wake up to another freaking balloon in my bedroom. So I was on the prowl for just kind of like more of a storage or warehouse type of situations. I was even thinking of like making backdrops and props in there. And then I found the space that I had now. And I was like, this space was still being worked on, but I knew that the owner had a vision. And I was just like, this space is too good to be just a warehouse. Like, and I'm paying a ridiculous amount. Like if you live in LA, the prices of just like any type of property out here
per square foot is wild,
just
actually.
Absolutely insane. So I was like, this can also be an event space. Like Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday, I'll blow up all the balloons. And then I'm never here on the weekends because we're always doing events. So I'll rent it out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then start that all over every single day of the week. So that's kind of how the Works in a sense happened, and evolved to what that is now. So I've had the event space for 3 years, going on 4, and I signed a 5-year lease with that space. And it's been a blessing, but also a lot of learning lessons with owning an event space because, it's just a new territory, a big responsibility. It's a big liability too. But that's where we store all of Balloon Works stuff. So
I do remember too, when you were looking for a space, I'm like, why do you want a space? Like, there's overhead, that's just to have the space without getting any jobs. Like you're starting off in the negative. Like I'm obviously very, very happy that you did and it worked out great for you. And like, now you have another source of income and like another space that you can go to. But I do remember just kind of being scared because
totally
scared for you in a sense that like, I know that's the goal for a lot of decorators, is to have a physical brick and mortar walk-in space, whether it's a warehouse or whether it's a display or you can carry balloons out.
But I always knew I didn't want it to be a brick and mortar of balloon works. Like I knew I didn't want people coming in there and me blowing up helium bouquets and they could pick up stuff. I knew that from the beginning because that's just not where I want my business to be. I feel like with that, you have to have full-time employees and like somebody there 24/7. I needed it just for the warehouse aspect. And then the works was just going to be the event venue space. I always knew that I didn't want to be the helium creator and like decorator and like
not your niche.
I didn't want that. Yeah, I knew that from the start. And I think a lot of people had reservations about me getting this space, but I just like, I don't have that negative mindset. I can't allow myself to have that. Because as soon as you do, it's like things just go south.
So like you just talked about your mindset, like, and I think you've kind of touched on it a few times. Can you go into what your mindset is then? So like a little bit more, like anything and everything you do,
it's always going to work out. Like there is literally zero doubt in my mind that everything I'm going to do is going to work out.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't care if I have to become a freaking Uber driver. It's going to work out. And nobody's going to know I'm going to be an Uber driver, but I'm going to make it work. Like it's going to work.
There is no backup plan.
There's no backup plan. No. Financially, there's no backup plan. Mentally, there's no backup plan. Emotionally, there's no backup plan. Like it's going to work. Like this is a plan is the only plan for me. Like all the time.
So what would you say to the people who have reservations? Because, okay, I consider myself very optimistic and positive. I think I'm actually genuinely one of the happiest people.
You are for sure. One of the happiest people in my life for sure.
And, I feel bad sometimes because I feel like I wish other people could feel kind of like the positivity and the perspective that I share in looking at things in a more positive light. Now, when it comes to taking risks, though, I'm a little bit more
reserved,
risk averse, and a little bit more reserved, where I'm going to weigh out the pros and cons, and I'm not going to pull the trigger until I feel like the odds are in my favor. Okay. So now as an entrepreneur, that's very difficult to do. Like, you
can't wait for it to be in your favor.
And you can't wait for someone else to tell you like, hey, go for it. Like you're going to be the one to say, I'm going for it.
I will say like, I'm not always a positive person. I'm not like, I for sure have my days where I'm just like, you're annoying or that pisses me off or that person's slow or whatever, right? But I have a positive mentality. I think that's the difference, right?
Okay.
And I think for me, it's just like I grew up with both my parents being very middle class and living paycheck to paycheck, where I knew for myself, like if I wanted more, I was just always going to have to do more and be more and like put myself out there. So, I think that's just.
So what would you tell people who are a little bit more scared to take the risks like you have taken? And obviously it's worked out for you. And like you also had, I think, a combination of other things that got you to the success that you have. But somebody who's kind of like intermediate, they've gone past their beginning stages of their balloon decorating business or whatever business they have. What would you advise them in terms of?
I think I just say always bet on yourself. Like what's the worst thing that can happen is like you fail. You're already saying to yourself, you're going to fail by not trying. So like if you just try, something good's going to come from that. And like, money and starting a business it's obviously not cheap and it's not easy. And like, you have to like, that's a lot of people's doubt, but like America runs off debt. So like run it up. Like, you have to take a bet on yourself, like get the credit card, get the van, and whatever is going to help you succeed, like it's going to come back to you in tenfold.
But pay it back.
Yeah. Eventually. Yeah.
Financial advice. If you're going to borrow the money,
financial advice
pay
from
it back.
Yeah. I have a finance guy. He does that for me. So
do you think that, or how was your family supportive when you started your balloon business? Like, what did they think when you were like, I'm quitting my 9 to 5 and I'm doing this business?
Yeah. So both of my parents didn't go to college. They just graduated high school. My mother was a teen mom growing up to my older sister. My mom had her when she was 17. So school wasn't like a big thing with us growing up. Like it wasn't like you need to get straight A's or like you need to go to college. My parents were just like, if you want a better life for yourself, you probably should go to school. And then my parents didn't like pay for our schooling either. Like I'm still paying for my school. But but both my parents are entrepreneurs as well. So like my dad has owned a fence business, like legit building fences for the last 45 years in Riverside.
No way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he does like wrought iron, chain link, vinyl, all those type of fences.
If I had a yard, I would know who to call.
Yeah.
My dad. Yeah, he doesn't service LA though, just Riverside. And then my mom worked in pharmaceuticals for like 15 years, and then now she does home health care. So they're both that entrepreneur mind and spirit of just like, we just get things done. Like that's just who we are as people. Like they didn't come from rich families either. And my brother and I had a very good life growing up. But yeah, what was the question again?
I was like, I forgot. Oh, how were they supportive or like?
Oh yeah, they were super supportive. I mean, of course they're skeptical and they were just kind of like, Rilee, are you sure? And I was like, I'm going to do this. And during that phase of my life, I was dating somebody as well that was an entrepreneur, and he was very supportive. We were both like young entrepreneurs, like starting these businesses from the ground up. And we're like, we're going to make this happen. Like we're young. We're 23, 22. And we're like, we're going to go to the top.
Is that how old you were when you started?
Yeah. Because I just turned 30 this week. So.
Oh man. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I had a very good support system that way.
23. Man. More props to you. Man, you're killing it.
I know. It was crazy back then. I think I just had like crazy cojones or something because yeah. But yes, always have had a really great support system from my family and that boyfriend at the time. We were just figuring things out. Yeah.
I think you bringing up that point of like how you're saying like you have your moments where, I mean, most of the time you have a positive mentality. Of course, you have your moments that are like not the best. And with Andrew being just positive all the time. And I think we've mentioned that before, like Andrew is very positive all the time. Like no matter what it is, like he's like, yeah, but you're going to do it and you're going to whatever. And I think I'm the one that's more like, well, maybe I'll try, maybe not. And bringing up your parents, I think is important that they have that, like they're entrepreneurs. So for like my parents, and I think this is where I get my fear from, is that they're also very reserved and they're not entrepreneurs. They come from Mexico. And so I think a lot of people in the industry that are just starting up, they might have the same thing as me. And so I think it does, I guess having that support from your friends and having your parents kind of as a guide, would you say that kind of helped you or motivated you to be like, in a sense, you wanted to be like them? Or
yeah, and I think what it came down to for me too is like I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. Like I did that corporate life and I was behind a desk and I was like, I'm so much more creative than this. Like this is what people do their whole life. Like there's no. I was like, I got to make money doing something, and I just knew we're in the generation of the Instagram and all that, and there's these celebrities that are paying dumb money for their kids' parties and their events. And I was like, I need to be in that. Like, even if I'm making 0.4% of that child's party, that is more than what an average person makes their entire paycheck on balloons.
Can you name some of the celebrities that you've worked for or have done work for?
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. A lot of people will be like, who's your favorite? And I think when you're in the moment of doing these events, you're just like, get me out of here. Like, you're just like, I want to get in and out. Like, I'm that type of person where I'm just like so focused and I want to go like have dinner with my friends. So I'm just like, I like do what I need to do just so I can get out. But I would say some of my favorites have been LeBron James was like really cool. Gwen Stefani, I did her and Blake Shelton's. And that was really cool. I don't fangirl over anybody just because I'm like, we all pull up our pants the same way. And like, you guys, like, we're all the same people. Obviously, they're cooler than me, but seeing them, they're so madly in love with each other, and like being in their house was really cool. I feel like a lot of these people, like, you have a lot of money too. They're not necessarily celebrities. So doing those type of people are interesting to me because I'm like, how did you get here? Like, what are you doing? Because like the houses we go to are just like things you can't, I don't even manifest that big. Like, I don't even dream that big, their houses, you know? We did the family where the son just had that crazy wedding in India.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we did his family's party.
So do you actually ever talk to these people? Or
It just depends. Like sometimes you're just speaking directly to the event planner, or sometimes you're just speaking directly to their assistant, or like the advisor of the house, basically. But then there's other times where like LeBron came out and was like, "Thank you guys so much," and was really cool. And then same with like Gwen and them, they're like in there while we were putting the balloons up and like, "This is awesome. Thank you guys," and just so down to earth. And there's other celebrities you meet and they won't even look at you like you are the help. Like you are, yeah.
is there
And that's fine too. I'm like, "Oh, you're still paying me."
do you have anybody that you look up to or who mentors you in any way in that type of way? So I guess like, you go to these people's houses, they're very successful, they're at a different level, and they can kind of give you advice or something. Is there anyone that you have that is a mentor or a coach to you? Or is there anybody who's just an inspiration to you, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good question. I probably should look into that more, but I think I am. You are who you surround yourself with. I have an amazing group and set of friends that are all entrepreneurs as well. It just happened that way. And you kind of like end up putting yourself in those friend groups, right? Like I have friends, of course, that I grew up from high school and stuff that aren't, but like I'm much closer to the friends that are like starting their own businesses and like doing that type of lifestyle. So I wouldn't say that they're like mentors to me, but I definitely take their opinion and like their day-to-day lives or things that they've been through to like kind of help elevate myself too. I would say like my biggest inspiration is my dad, just because he's owned his own business for 45 years. He's been through recessions and like went from 150 employees to 5 employees to 25 employees. He's had that ebb and flow. But also like our parents' generation is a lot different than ours too, in the sense that like they weren't big risk takers.
Yeah.
And like my dad has owned his own business, yes, but he wasn't taking like crazy risk. So I also use that as fuel to my fire too, where I'm like, "Okay, dad, like you don't think it's a good idea, but I'm going to show you why it is. Like I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it." Like he didn't think the works was a good idea. I will say that. He was just like, "How are you going to pay that lease every month?" And I'm like, "How am I not? Like it's
I'll
gonna
figure it
happen."
out. Yeah.
That is, kudos to your dad though. So any business that's been around for that long and is still like up and going, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but it is funny because once you get to a certain level, you are kind of like, there's less incentive to take risk, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
But it's more about kind of protecting and making sure that you still kind of get that cash flow that you can still
People
keep
always
lights
ask me
on.
now, they're like, "Why don't you branch out Balloon Works and like have multiple Balloon Works?" But like, that's not what I want, because I know the lifestyle that brings. Like too, like I'm looking at my future and like I'm 30 years old. I want to settle down. I want to have kids. And like, let's be honest, like this is a very demanding physical labor job. And do I want to manage employees? No, I don't think that's my strong suit. I don't think that's something I'm good at, is telling people what to do. I just feel like everybody should know how to do it. And that's my issue too. I'm like, how do you not know how to do this?
If only that was the case.
Yeah.
Like common sense.
So Balloon Works of what it is now is evolving, and people just don't know that because I'm not very open on social media. So yeah.
With that, I want to get back to that on the social media because we do have a question regarding that. So what is the role of social media in your business? So like, is that where you get most of your leads? How do people actually book you?
Yeah.
Is that very important? Do you spend a lot of time on social media?
I think it's evolved. It's evolved a ton. So in the beginning, absolutely. Like I said, I was DMing 50 companies a day. Like it was crazy. Now I think the algorithm is so jacked. It's like I could post a picture, 14 likes. I'm like, okay. I can post a video, 133 views, 33 million views, or 33,000 views. You know what I mean? Like it's so different now. But I will say with social media, like if you want to be a professional business, do not take inquiries via social media. I feel like that's a very unprofessional thing to do. I've told so many of my close balloon vendors and frienders, like, you want to be taken seriously, like do you think like Pepsi's going to be DMing you? No, they're going to be filling out an inquiry form, like pay for the web, like somebody to build out a website for you, or just a simple Google Doc inquiry form and have that. So you're organized too. Like I get a DM and then I'm like, where did that go? Like you can't find it. It's just not reliable. And I don't use social media like that on my Balloonworks account. I have my own personal private Instagram, but like once I post, I like just literally log off that page and just go to my personal account. So I don't really use it. I use it more of like a portfolio. So if like clients are like, hey, I want this, I'm like, oh, like send me a picture. Here's my Instagram and kind of see my vibe and how like my installs look. But I don't use it to like get business from it now. I think maybe on the back end, people see my Instagram and they'll fill out an inquiry form, but I'm not answering inquiry forms off my DM.
I think I remember you told me one time that the video of you just loading your van with balloons was like the one that got the most views.
Yeah, like 7 million views or something stupid.
And it was just loading balloons.
Yeah, something I do every day.
And stuffing them.
Yeah.
So do you have like a minimum? Do you have to post something on your story or your grid like a certain number of times in a week?
No, I think a year to 2 years ago I was like very strategic with it of like posting one story a day and posting like 1 to 2 pictures or reels a week. But now I'm just like, get what you get. Like
whenever you can get to
it's
it.
a full-time job. It really is, like editing and all of that stuff. Like there's so much content we don't even post. Like there's so many like projects and jobs people don't see at all just because I'm just like,
you don't have time. You got to go in, you got to go out.
Who is a part of Balloonworks? Like, is it just you doing the like all the inquiries that people send you, running social media? Do you have a team that helps you blow up balloons? Like, who is truly behind the works other than you, or is it just you? That's it. It's a one-woman show.
I don't believe you. I think sometimes there's more than just.
Yeah, no, okay. I will say
I've seen some of these installs, and they're gargantuan.
No, so very much the business aspect of Balloonworks is just me. From the day-to-day talking to clients, getting new clients, inquiry forms, picking up, ordering balloons, like that is me and me only. When it comes to prepping and like install days, like there's days where I'm literally just doing it on my own. Then there's also now like for the bigger jobs, 1,000% I'm reaching out. I'm like, I have a core group of balloon vendors that own their own companies that will come through for me and be like, hey, if you need an extra set of hands, I'm here. I also have like one employee, her name is Becky, that's kind of been here with me through the ride, but she has kids and, you know, has to take off time to like do baseball practices and stuff like that. That's why I say like, I don't know how you moms do it because like there's not enough time in the day and I am by myself. I couldn't imagine like doing this with dropping my kid off of gymnastics and picking him up for preschool. It's just a lot. It's a lot of work. And that's why it's like, I've been in this for 7 years and I'm like, Balloonworks is evolving because like I'm broken down. I'm tired. I'm like exhausted and like I'm trying to retire.
Retire at 30.
I think you gotta, well, actually, no. You can retire whenever you want to.
What's a day-to-day, like what's a day in the life of Rilee?
Yeah, so I recently just moved to Orange County. So before moving to Orange County, I was in Pasadena, 8 minutes away from my warehouse space. So I was pretty much at my warehouse space every day. Typically what I'll do though is I'll wake up and I'll go to a coffee shop and I sit and answer inquiries and emails there. I'll send out, you know, invoices, proposal, mock-up designs, copies of insurance, like all the back end stuff that takes just an annoying amount of time to do that like people don't realize. Like when you're getting the 3 and then I'll like physically write out like, okay, Molly, 4th birthday, this theme, these colors, this type of design. And then I'll go to the warehouse and I'll pick out all the balloons that we have and basically see like, okay, I need this bag of whatever color. And I'll just like go through all of that. And that takes a crazy amount of time too. Like that takes hours to do, especially when you're just kind of like by yourself and you're just like looking through. Then I'll place my order with you guys and I literally drive 20 minutes later to make sure it's already here. I'm like the worst at that. I'm sorry. You guys are the best with that. And that's I truly do love LA Balloons because I hate going into the store to shop. Like I don't even grocery shop. I Instacart everything. Like I'm like, I get very like flustered. So like being able to just, and your website is just so beautiful. It's evolved so much too from the beginning days. And I could just easily pick and choose what I need and blah, blah, blah. And I drive 20 minutes from Pasadena and I come here and it's ready and it's boxed up and you boop in my car and I just drive off. And I go back and I sort everything out. And then Fridays, or if we don't have a jobs Friday, Fridays typically our prep day. Thursday or Friday, depending on how busy the week is. And then Saturday, it's just
Go, go, go.
What's the most jobs you've ever done in a day or a weekend?
In a day, I would say 7. In a weekend, I would say like 15.
I still don't understand.
Yeah.
Like 7 jobs in one day.
Yeah, that's like highly don't recommend. You're filled like a shriveled grape because like your body's just like, you didn't drink water all day. I'm eating like a Slim Jim and a Red Bull. Like that's
Gas station.
Yeah, a gas station diet. That's why I just like, I can't physically do this anymore. It's very demanding. And I'm like, I'm trying to find a husband. Like no man is gonna like, no man is working with these hours of craziness where it's like I'm 5 a.m. till like 2 a.m. like doing pickups. Like that's just not a normal behavior. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that was boss girl back then, but now I'm like, okay, somebody be my boss. Like this is a lot, like, you know, but yeah, it's just, yeah.
Are you considering, well, actually, you told us earlier, you don't like managing people.
Mm-hmm.
So like just bringing on like someone who's like full-time who can
Yeah.
do
So
some of the stuff.
this past weekend when I was in Cabo for my birthday, I had Angel from Decoratable, which he's amazing. I had Miranda from Area Avenue, Decoratable. And a new friend of mine, his name is Justin, and they literally took this weekend, did the 4 jobs we had. Incredible. I didn't worry about a single thing.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
so
best
Baby
feeling
Balloon
ever.
Works is evolving into a bigger team,
I don't know.
and then you can still find a husband.
Yeah.
We'll get you on one of those. Actually, we can get everyone on
Whoever
a
sees
dating
this
show.
episode, we're accepting applications for Rilee.
Call me.
So you said you moved down to Orange County. Why
Mhm.
did you make that move?
Yeah.
That seems kind of far away.
It is, but I think for me, I've grinded so hard the last 6 years for my business that I did put my physical and mental health to the side. And LA is a very fast-paced lifestyle out here, even just living out here without a business, that I wanted to just be closer to the beach and like live a slower paced lifestyle. And Orange County has been all that plus more. It's been so beneficial for me. I only come out to Pasadena on Wednesdays and Fridays now. So, and I still figure it out, you know, like I don't need to be in office every day. And it's allowed me to like start going to the gym again and start working on my mental health. And like your business is nothing without you. And if you're not like the best version of yourself, how could your business survive and like be going all the time? And, you know, we talked about like positive mindset. Like I will always have a positive mindset when my body is feeling good. So I just needed to step away from like living in LA.
So like something I always say is like, okay, stress. You're only stressed if you don't have an equal and opposite or equal and opposite stress reliever.
Mhm.
So like you can take on like so much more. And you'd be surprised on what you can take on in terms of workload and projects and this and that, as long as you have a way to kind of relieve that stress. So what would you consider, do you have like a way to release stress? Is it going to the beach? Is it
Yeah.
running?
Yeah.
You got a run club? I heard there was a run
One is
club.
sleep.
Oh,
One is sleep for
yeah.
sure. Second is running. Yeah, I started a run club. So that was fun. Or is fun. Running allows me to think about nothing. Like all I think about is like, how am I going to finish this run? Like I don't think about invoices or getting back to emails or clients or anything. So I really enjoyed running and I enjoyed the beach. Like it's very healing for me. I live 10 minutes away from it now. So I'm at the beach every day. So yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah. Versus before, like the last 4 years of business, the only times were ever at the beach is if I was installing at the beach.
Oh.
And that's what's so sad. Like
Yeah, it
I've
was, like-
never really had like time off or like would go to the beach on a Saturday with friends because I'm working.
Yeah. I mean, the beach is not far from us at all. I
It's
mean, if
not.
you hit traffic,
Yeah.
then yeah, it could take like an hour, whatever. But for you to only be 10 minutes away now is it walking distance or do you just drive
I
and
still have
pull
to
up?
drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that close, but hopefully eventually one day. Yeah.
I remember when we moved out here, me and Liz, I thought that we would be at the beach like 2 or 3 times a week. I
All
was
the
just
time.
like, yeah,
Exactly.
that's like 17 miles, 17, 20 minutes, easy peasy. Not at
Yeah,
all.
when's the
I
last time you've been to the beach?
had, that's a great question.
Probably
Did we do
months.
months ago, right?
Didn't I go somewhere? I think I went somewhere.
I feel
Oh no, we did. Okay, we went like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it was all the way down in Laguna, because Liz's cousin had come down, and they were going through and doing the Disneyland and the beaches and all the different things. So we had dinner with them there, but definitely nowhere near as often.
Yeah.
It's probably 10 times a year. Like I don't even want to say we go once a month, but definitely nowhere near as often as I envisioned or originally planned
Totally.
when we moved out here.
It's both like the beach, and you guys. Except this last weekend was very, very hot. So were you at the beach with the heat?
No, I was
or-
in Cabo.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, you were in the heat.
You were at
over
a
there.
different beach.
I was at a very different beach.
Oh, I feel like I have a lot of questions, but going back to like your structure throughout the week. At what point did you get to doing all like filing like your insurance, and like what was the moment in your business that you said like I have to file an LLC, I have
Hold
to get
on.
insurance?
I remember when you filed your LLC because
Someone tried to
you
sue
came
me.
in and you actually said, no, I got the legal name, I got the LLC. Like it was like the day after or something like that. But
Yeah.
that was kind of early on. That wasn't like,
No, it was literally after the Paris Hilton job because somebody DM'd me and was like, that's my client. I'm going to sue you. And I was like, well, the event planner reached out to me. Like, I didn't even know
Oh.
that who she was until I was at the party. And she was like, that's hot. And then I got all the postings from it. And then this balloon person at the time DM'd me and she's like, I'm gonna sue you for like reaching out to my contacts or whatever. And I was like, I didn't reach out to anybody, but okay.
Were you scared at that moment? Like
No, because I just am like,
he was about to fight her. What do you mean?
many other instances have happened like that in the balloon industry with me, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say many. I would say 2 or 3 other times where I've had companies reach out and say they're going to sue me. And I'm like, you sound like a bully. Like this is like a high school bully. Like, okay.
And you just kind of keep it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll wait.
That's it.
Yeah. Under what grounds? Like I've had a company like try to sue me for getting a bounce house back in the day.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like,
just getting a bounce. Like
yeah, they're
offering
like
a
they designed this bounce house. This is before bounce houses are what they were now. There was only 2 bounce house companies out there. The reason why I bought a bounce house was because I was like, the bounce house company that clients were showing up late, and it was making me late to my other events because I couldn't put the balloons on it if the bounce house wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna invest in my own. Then I get email, I designed this bounce house. I was like, I got this off of Alibaba. Like, you did not design that. And that they were going to sue me for stealing their bounce house design. And I'm like, I wonder how they feel now knowing that there's hundreds of bounce house companies now. I'm like, okay.
So those were the moments that you would say, like at that point, you were like, I got to get all my paperwork done.
And I just knew I wanted to be, like I said, bigger than just doing family parties and like mom and pop. I wanted to be the level of like going to the SoFi Stadium and doing the Amazons and all of that. And the only way those people are even going to message you or take you serious is if you have insurance. You have to have it. Like they're not going to allow you into the facilities unless you have that.
Is it difficult to get business insurance?
No, super easy.
Or
I have a
what's the
guy.
process? Like, can you just literally, it's like getting car insurance? Like Geico?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's not through Geico, but mine's through like a third party or whatever. And you basically just like tell them what you do and you do it. You can even do day of event insurance too.
Oh.
Yeah. So if like you want to, if the event venue space is, I know this because I own an event venue space now, but an event venue space is requiring you to have insurance, whether you're a taco man or a balloon artist or a bounce house company or whatever, and you don't have insurance, but you just need it for that day, you can pay it. It's obviously more, it's like $110 for that day versus if you just pay the $1,000 a year. Yeah.
With you working with like SoFi and like all these big artists, I know you've always had that positive mentality of like, this is it, this is what's happening. Like, did you ever think that balloons would get you to this point where you're working with celebrities, you're working with big events, did you ever think that all of this would come out of just balloons?
I know you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but yes, I did. I just knew that I was like, I just know people have the money to pay for this stuff. And I obviously am very grateful for where I'm at now. Did I think I was going to be doing like a LeBron James or a Kardashian event? Not necessarily, but I knew it was going to be to some level. And I think if I didn't have that mindset, then I probably wouldn't be kind of where I'm at today, because I would have just had a small frame of view.
Do you have a motivational quote or some kind of saying that you go by?
Yeah, just everything's figure-outable.
Everything's figure-outable. That's a good one.
What would you tell someone who's trying to get into the balloon industry, or really just any advice for someone who's trying to start a business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I would just say like bet on yourself, because if there's people out there doing it, what makes you think you can't do it? And to just like consistency is everything. And like that is what builds character. That's what builds a brand. That's what builds a name. And like if you're going out there and only doing one balloon setup a month, like people aren't going to take you serious. If you have to literally build a whole balloon setup in your freaking house in different areas of your house every day and post that you can do this stuff, then do that. Like consistency is everything, and like repetition and putting your name out there and like taking the pictures and posting the content and like making the TikToks and making the reels, like that all takes time. Yes. But if you're new and just starting out, like you should be doing that times 1,000. And like you should be hitting up new businesses times 1,000. Look, just pay me $75 for the balloon supplies, or just pay me $100 for the balloon supplies. I'll be there at your grand opening, or like, and just tag me or whatever, because it just takes one person finding out your name to relay it to the next person and the next, and you just grow from there.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about quitting at any point?
Oh my God, every day. I'm so over this.
So what did you do to kind of get yourself out of that? Because I feel like people who do start, they get to a plateau or they get to a sticking point, and you know, that thought of like, maybe I should just go back to the 9 to 5 or do something else.
I think about that often, but I also know like nothing's gonna pay my bills as much as like I, do now. And I just remind myself like I get to wake up every morning and like go to a coffee shop and do work, and like then I'll like go to the mall and like do some other stuff. I don't know. Like I would not be able to do that if I worked a 9 to 5. And not to say like I don't work 16 hours some days. And there's some people that would be like, no way I would ever do that, and it's just how you want to live your life. Some people find security in like working a 9 to 5 because you have insurance and like you get the same type of paycheck every month and you get a raise. Like I don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? If I'm not booking jobs, I'm not making money. Mm-hmm. And like I don't have health insurance, and there's a lot of unknown with being an entrepreneur, but also it's just like that's the risk I'm willing to take and the lifestyle I want, Do
you ever find yourself comparing yourself to other people in the industry? Or do you feel like you're just kind of self-motivated and you try not to? Because I know a lot of people who are starting off and are like, well, Rilee has X amount of followers, and like, how to, like, a lot of people do kind of compare themselves. Mm-hmm. So do you ever feel like you kind of have been through that, or you're just kind of focused on yourself and like, your end goal and that?
Yeah. I think in the beginning I kind of did, because I would just see these bigger jobs and I'd be like, how are they getting these big jobs? But I will say like social media is a big facade. Even to this day, I know event planners that are doing these balloon artists that are doing these massive jobs and making this much money. So what you see on social media is not always true. So I think now it's like, I'm also like not in this industry. Like I have a lot of like friends that I've made from this, but like these aren't friends I'm like going to dinner with or like trying to go hang out at Disneyland with. Like I don't even get to hang out at Disneyland with my own family. Like I'm not going to do that with balloon artists. Like that's also like why I don't go to like the global cons and all that stuff, just because like I am very much business and then personal. Like I don't try to intermingle the two.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of free time, and when I do have the free time, I just want to spend it with my family. Yeah.
Well, good.
Fair.
Yeah. Makes sense. Do you have
any questions for us?
You don't have to, because I mean it's totally fine. But
is there any new products coming out?
There's always new products. Quick plug, LA Balloons is always coming out with new products. We got 10,000 plus products on our website. But we are literally always constantly vetting products. So actually, when we'll take you walk through the office, and you'll see a bunch of things that we're testing and making sure that we like. It's a never-ending cycle. So products are always getting discontinued, and we are always looking for and trying to bring in products that anyone in the industry might.
I feel like you've answered a lot of.
I know. Sorry, I will talk your guys' ear off for the rest of my life if you let me.
You have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in you, and I think a lot of people will benefit from hearing you and your story and everything. And I still feel like there's so much that we missed and so much more that you could still say.
We do want to play this game.
Yes. So we have a game for you.
Yes, let's do it.
To see how well you know Tough Text colors. Okay. So we'll start off with the first set of colors, and I'll just show you the back. But these are the 2 bags, and we'll see how well you know. Am I right?
We're not blowing them up.
That's like smoke gray and then fog.
These 2.
Those are newer. That's like taffy. And forget the name of that one. Yeah, it's not Aloha, is it? No, it's
close. It's a relative color.
I know, but that coral. Yeah. That one looks different than the coral. Looks a little bit different. I don't know why.
There's shades of pink.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying to pull the ones that you guys will have a harder time with to see how well you guys know them. But here are 2 shades of green. Evergreen. Yeah. And then that one's
this one you should know.
No, I know it, but it's always mix these two up. It's
they did come out at the same time.
No, it's that other blue color and this. It's like blue slate and
do you want the first letter?
Willow.
Oh yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, I always like mix their names up. I don't know why. Blue slate and willow. They're not the same color. I know that, but when I write it down, I'm always like blue slate, willow.
Instead of willow, yeah.
The next 2 are shades of brown.
Oh, cocoa and malted. Yeah.
Always forget malted, but I like that color a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of their newer ones. So, and then the last ones would be these 2 shades of
Romy, sorry. Romeo, and then that's just baby pink.
Yeah. We haven't gotten you on your dating show yet, so next time maybe there'll be a Romeo. That was actually really good. I think that's the best we've seen so far.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. All the colors.
That was
my God.
You're in number 1 place right now. So.
Hey. Yeah. I'm so competitive.
So you do know your Tough Text colors.
I do.
We also have a giveaway.
Let's do it.
Can you show the people what it is that we're giving away?
Yes.
There's a lot of goodies in here.
I don't know what's in here, but we can open it together.
So the bag that Rilee is holding, we will go ahead and pick a winner by having one of you like the video on YouTube and follow and leave a comment in the comment section. And we will just pick a random person to win all the goodies. And you can...
We got t-shirts, we got books, we got balloons.
Oh, do I open what's in here?
No, we don't have to do it. Well, actually, we could. It will be a surprise, but it's a bunch of good stuff from Tough Text.
Cool.
There. With that, I think that's everything we've got for today. Please be sure to follow Balloon Works.
Balloon Works, the Works.
And the Works.
Yeah.
Okay?
The Run Club. I'm just kidding.
Do you have a separate one for the Run Club?
Yeah.
Okay. Shout it out. What are the things to follow you?
Balloon Works, the Works LA, and then the Works LA Run Club.
Mm-hmm. And then your website is?
myballoonworks.com.
myballoonworks.com. Please be sure to follow LA Balloons on all of our social media, iTunes, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, which I always keep forgetting. Is there one that I'm missing, Karen?
I don't think so. I think there's too many to keep track of, but
we are on every platform. We're even on Pinterest. And thank you again to Tough Text for sponsoring today's episode of On Air with LA Balloons. And we will see you next time.
Be sure to follow us on all our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Pinterest. Thank you to our sponsor, Tough Text, for supporting the podcast On Air with LA Balloons. Tough Text is known for their high-quality balloons, unique colors, and for being trendsetters in the industry.
Are you a balloon artist, own a party shop, or planning an event? If you're looking for professional products, better service, and faster shipping, then check us out at laballoons.com. We carry all of your favorite balloon brands, silk flowers, party supplies, equipment, and more.